Now, they keep trying to convince you that these raids are about families, right? But they lie, because when ICE moves in, they're not just finding people overstaying visas. They're catching predators. They're catching traffickers and criminals who've been hiding in plain sight, like right, from Walmart parking lots to meatpacking plants, from sanctuary cities to the halls of Congress. The truth is the same. Democrats protect chaos. ICE is cleaning it up.
For 28 years to my husband, who is being deported right now by ICE. 28 years. He's been here over 30 years, and I want everybody to know, nobody gives a shit if you have family, if you have kids. They don't give a shit if they're taking your husband or your father away. They are taking my husband away. These are FBI agents who work for Border Patrol. Okay? I want everybody to know, my family was just separated. They have taken my kid's father, and they don't give a shit. They have taken my husband away. I want everybody to know. They have taken my husband away. They don't care if they're separating families. Please, I need somebody to help me. I want everybody to know what they're doing. They are taking my husband away. They don't give a shit. For 28 years to my husband.
Wow. 30 plus years in America, and never once did he become a legal resident? And they want to keep framing this like they're kidnapping them. She was able to identify who they were, who they worked for, and their purpose. That's not an oversight. That's a choice, okay? And while the cameras focus on Tiz in the parking lot, nobody's asking the obvious questions. What does it say about a system that lets someone skirt the rules for decades? It says the system isn't broken. It's been sabotaged. And the people doing the sabotaging are the same ones crying on TV about compassion, man. And while Walmart raids wake people up, the White House just put a spotlight on exactly what the mission is.
Now, I'm going to say, if you're in the country illegally, you shouldn't feel comfortable. Absolutely not. I won't feel comfortable if I'm in the country illegally. If I'm in some other country illegally, I'm not going to be comfortable. You shouldn't be comfortable either, because when you enter this country illegally, you have committed a crime. You are a criminal. Now, I'm going to say, if you're in the country...
They got him rising with the Teletubby music. Oh, whoever put this together, y'all wrong. Oh, man. Tom's on his face, man, rising like the sun. Might get some laughs, but his words is definitely cut deep. I mean, if you're here illegally, you shouldn't feel comfortable. Nothing about your space should be comfortable to you or tailored to you. That's not cruelty, in my opinion. That's the way every other country on earth operates. I'm just saying, bro. The left calls this xenophobia or something like that, right? But let's be honest. No, they only hate borders when it's America's. Because with our borders, they get votes. That's right. We know y'all stat padding. Well, I can't even get it right. Yeah, with borders, you get safety, though. That's why they fight them. And if you think that's an exaggeration, wait until you see what happens when sanctuary cities actually get involved. Boom. This man was arrested for child sex crimes. Now, ICE issued a detainer in the Portsmouth, I think that's how you say it, Portsmouth. I'll be messing up words like that, but the police, they let him go the same day. It's not a misunderstanding. That was the policy. And that policy has a name. It was Democrat governance. They'll tell you it's about rights and due process, but, the truth is those rights didn't extend to your child when they're the victim. They extended to the predator. Yeah, because, that's who their policies used to protect. And when ICE actually catches these guys, the reality gets even uglier.
It took almost 5 agents to make that arrest when we could have just went inside the facility and took that, child sex offender into custody. They didn't cooperate with the detainer. And that's just one example of, if ICE agents weren't available out front to take that individual into custody, you would have had another child sex offender go back into the community in Rhode Island. And that is what we're up against every day in these sanctuary jurisdictions. These aren't the individuals you want in your neighborhood or at the playground. Here's someone that was soliciting a minor for sex with a very bad criminal history, and yet they were going to let him out the door if the ICE agents weren't there. It took almost 5 agents to make that arrest when we could have.
Y'all know what it does anytime I hear a child is involved. Y'all know what it does to my spirit. But John Lyons, he spells it out. Without ICE, waiting outside, this predator, he would have been free. He would have been back on the streets. And we know that's always the sanctuary gamble. Protect the criminal. Hope the public never finds out, right? And the media, they're running, with interference faster than the campaign ad. But you got to ask yourself, why? Why are they more comfortable defending a child predator than defending the law? The answer is as dark as it sounds. Because the truth kills their narrative. And while predators get a free pass, here's where your money goes.
Santa Ana just approved $100,000 in emergency help, but it's not what you think. This new program is called Ayuda Sin Fronteras, or Help Without Borders, and it's designed to support families impacted by immigration enforcement. If someone in your household has been detained or deported recently, you can get up to 1 month's worth of rent and utilities paid. This move comes after federal immigration action shook the community, and now the city's stepping in with real dollars to support stability. But my question is, do you think this kind of local action is enough, or should more cities follow Santa Ana's lead? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm Jeb Smith, local realtor. I keep up with the local news, so you don't have to. Santa Ana just approved 100.
Jungle Ball 2 added, California is buying votes with illegal aliens by paying for housing and expenses. This is boop boop because they're trying to get through the midterms and maintain as many democracies as possible. Santa Ana just approved $100K to pay rent and utilities for families impacted by ICE raids. Not not even struggling veterans. These people, not single parents who are citizens. People here illegally. You work hard, man. You pay your bills. You pay your taxes, and your tax dollars go to help the same people breaking the law. You helping us aid in the bed in this. And we know the level of, to call it the C word, compassion. I call it buying loyalty, and it's paid for with your wallet. And if you think this is just about border states, man, Nebraska, they just proved otherwise. Y'all check this out.
Earlier this week, federal immigration agents detained dozens of people in a worksite raid in Nebraska. The Department of Homeland Security said it was the largest such operation in the state during the Trump presidency. Nebraska Congressman Don Bacon said 75 to 80 people were detained in the raid. ICE released this video showing agents entering a meat production plant in Omaha, owned by Glen Valley Foods. The company's president, Chad Hartman, later told Reuters that the agents had a warrant that they said had identified 107 people they believed were using fraudulent documents. While local police in Omaha said they were given advance notice about the raid, Glen Valley said it caught them by surprise. Hartman says he followed the rules for immigration status. However, when he told a federal agent that the plant had been using E-Verify, a federal database used for checking employees' immigration status, he says the agent told him the system was broken and urged him to contact his local congressional representative. After ICE agents gathered workers in the plant's cafeteria, the video shows them transporting detainees away from the site in an unmarked bus and arriving at a processing center where they were shackled and searched. The Omaha raid came amid ongoing protests in Los Angeles over similar operations that began in the city late last week. Migrant advocates there said ICE agents arrested migrants at LA Home Depot stores, a garment factory, and a warehouse. The agency has been intensifying efforts in recent weeks to deliver on U.S. President Donald Trump's promise of record-level deportations. Homeland Security said earlier this week that ICE had arrested 2,000 immigration offenders per day recently. That's nearly 7 times the daily average in the 2024 fiscal year under former President Joe Biden. More than half of all meatpacking workers in the U.S. are immigrants, according to the think tank, the Center for Economic and Policy Research.
Wow. The largest ICE operation in Nebraska during Trump's presidency. Over 100 suspected of using fake documents in the plant. They used E-Verify. Okay. That's the government's own system, and the agents on site admitted it's broken. Think about that. Tell the public the system works, but in private, admit it doesn't. That's not incompetence, man. That's deception. Because a broken system keeps the cheap labor flowing. The voter rolls padded. And the headlines spitting. Same thing. This is why we got to show up every single day. Not to be anti-immigrant, but to be pro-law, pro-safety, pro-truth, Democrats built their empire on emotions. We're not going to do that here, man. Make sure y'all follow me on these platforms up here. Rumble and X if you don't want no sense of truth. Y'all already know I'm getting my shout-outs together right now. Shout out to Andy Carpenter, G5K. Shout out to Betty Taylor, 1496. Shout out to Nathan Matsky, 1911. Liberty Walker, 3473. How you say that tongue? Laxier? Okay. Whoa, what does that mean? Diana in Texas again. Shout out to Rabbit G3Z. Truly appreciate y'all. Go check on somebody today. You could be saving their life. Peace.